You have to you have to tell stories in a limited number of words, you know? And that's good sometimes for people who got a whole lot of words. So songwriting is good because you have to be economic.
The social commentary of writer, poet, singer, teacher, and activist Gil Scott-Heron has kept a critical eye on the many social and political injustices that continue to plague the country and throughout the world. Heron and his co-writing partner, Brian Jackson, for over a decade would write and record some of the most thought-provoking songs and poems. I'm Brian Pace. Coming up next on the Pace Report, the father of conscious rap, Gil Scott-Heron, breaks his silence after many years of being away from the limelight. African Americans were craving and embracing a more powerful and conscious message that was starting to be heard from musicians like Sly Stone, to James Brown, to Curtis Mayfield. These musicians, unlike the vocal and political stylings of Gil Scott-Heron and Brian Jackson, woke up a new generation of listeners to become more aware of their social and economic surroundings, as well as becoming a new voice for change. Gil recently played 2 sold-out shows at SOBs in New York City, and brought out his older and new fans to hear his views on life, politics, and pop culture. Heron is considered the father of conscious rap that paved the way for MCs and singers like Mos Def, KRS-One, Talib Kweli, Gil Scott, Erykah Badu, Black Thought, and Paris. Not only is he an accomplished singer-songwriter, Gil is also an exceptional novelist and poet. His first 2 books, The Vulture and The Nigger Factory, were both written when he dropped out of undergrad while attending Lincoln College. It was at Lincoln where he would also form one of his most creative and long-lasting partnerships, also shift from writing to music.
I started out as a novelist. That's what I always wanted to be. I guess there were a lot of them around the house, and I got into like writing books that way. I also wanted to teach school. When I got my master's at Johns Hopkins, I went to UDC. I taught there for 2 or 3 years. And I think I was a better writer when I was teaching, you know, like, than things developed later. But like, when you do songs, you have to tell stories in a limited number of words, you know. And that's good sometimes for people who got a whole lot of words. So songwriting is good because you have to be economic, you know. And most people who talk about writing and talk about good writing, they talk about economy. So you have to practice that to do songs, to do 8 lines and tell a story, to do 4 lines and tell the whole song. You know, like it puts you to work, you know. But I like to do that.
We have songwriting teams that you have Holland Dozier Holland, you had McCartney Lennon, you had Strayhorn and Ellington.
Oh yeah.
And you got you and Brian Jackson.
We worked together for about 10 years. Brian was a freshman at Lincoln when I was a junior, my 3rd year, and that's when we met. And we were writing songs for this other group, a group that was on campus that we liked. We were writing songs for them, and worked together for quite a while, writing songs for this group. And then like 3 people in the group graduated, and other things happened. So we got a chance to like write some things that were more appropriate in general, like not just set for that group. Brian is a classical pianist. He was classical for about 12 years or so, 11, 12 years. And that blend of what he does and how he does it does a nice thing with melody. So we work well together.
Lincoln University is the home of one of your favorite poets, Langston Hughes. That's why you went there, right?
Well, Langston Hughes was part of why I went here, but like Thurgood Marshall went here. Melvin Tolson went here. Kwame Nkrumah went here. Like the school is not just, I mean, like Langston Hughes is best known, not the only person. I would think that most people who evaluate what you need to do in America to change it would say that Thurgood Marshall was one of the greatest people in the whole 20th century.
I was doing doing it when I was a colored boy of 8 or
In 1970, Gil was living in Harlem. Coffee shops were the new platform for poets like the Last Poets and Gil. His landmark recording, Small Talk at 125th and Lenox, set the way for the spoken word and rap genre that would dominate the radio waves now.
We used to do coffee houses and coffee shops and student activities and different things where we would play and do rap and percussion and different stuff at Lincoln and then other places. The book of poetry called Small Talk at 125th and Lenox was the book that came out at the same time my first novel came out. And Bob Thiel picked some of his favorites and we picked some of our favorites and we worked on those and recorded those as spoken word pieces.
Bob Thiel was very responsible for those Verve classic impulse recordings.
He worked with a lot of good people. He worked with Archie Shepp. He worked with John Coltrane. Anytime, like Coltrane, somebody like Coltrane allows him to put his picture on the cover saying produced by, he's made quite a contribution. And like when we were there, like he got us together with Ron Carter and Hubert Laws and with Bernard Purdy, some really good musicians to play the things that we were playing earlier. So it helped a great deal.
Did you ever think that the spoken word poetry would ever take off like you took off?
We actually had like 4 or 5 areas where FM was coming about. FM was starting to be necessary because of the stations they had there. And in the Philadelphia area and the Washington area, in LA and in the Bay Area, FM stations were very, very popular and they played a lot of our stuff. And we didn't think we'd get airplay. That's what we didn't think. So we didn't really think about like how much of a reach we would have because this was all coming together at the same time. And so we rode in when that rode in, and a lot of people got to know us.
Pieces of a Man, you had Johnny Pate as your conductor, Brian Jackson on keyboards, Bernard Purdy and Ron Carter. What were you going with it musically?
We wanted to play something different. Something different, a new combination of difference. We knew Purdy because Purdy played with King Curtis, and King Curtis played with Aretha, and Aretha played I Ain't Never Loved a Man, and all that other stuff. Ron Carter, at that time, was not known that much for his electric bass, but he played electric bass quite well. Hubert Laws, of course, on flute and saxophone, was just the flavoring we needed, and combinations worked. Johnny Pate put the songs in the perspective where we could deal with them. When they came in and didn't know us and didn't know what was going on, Ron Carter said, they would. All right, let's try one of the songs about my favorite people. And he was talking about Lady Day and John Coltrane. He said, we can work this out, we can work it out. So we worked that one out, and everything went pretty well from there.
On my second part of my exclusive interview with Gil Scott-Heron, he talks about his iconic classics, The Bottle, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, and his landmark recording, Winter in America, and the impact he's made in popular music. Reporting from SOBs in New York City, for the Pace Report, I'm Brian Pace.